Today is Monday, September the 17th, and I'm Kathleen, and this is Kathleen's Trodden Trail. Welcome to everyone. So I'm going to start with whips. The first thing that I worked on just a little tiny bit was Peace on Earth Sampler by Cottage Gardens, and again, I absolutely love this. I love the pattern. The chart is just so easy to follow. The colors are lush. The fabric, which Julie McConnell helped me pick out, is just amazing. But here is my start. Sorry, it goes this way. Here's my start on Peace on Earth Sampler. Got a few more little petals of the flowers and a couple more stems worked, and then got the first little deer in. And I'm very pleased with this, very happy with it. I am stitching this 1 or 2 over 1 on 32 count, which I've never stitched 2 over 1 on 32 count, and I'm happy with it. It's a light coverage. It's definitely not a heavy-duty full coverage. It's a light coverage, but it's I like the way it looks. It's just I think it makes it look a little bit older, a little bit you know, more sampler-esque, if you will. The next thing I worked on, I did this both on Witchy Wednesday and Fall Friday, and had a really hard time putting it down, so I'm pretty sure I worked on this on Thursday as well. Stranded Jacks, Plum Street Sampler, and if you remember during Stitch Mania, I'd started the whale, and got a really good start on the whale during Stitch Mania, because I think I ended up working on it 2 days in a row, because I was having trouble putting it down. I'm doing this in the DMC colors, rather than in the Fancy Floss, and very happy with it. So I finished up the whale. Love how he turned out. I stitched this on a piece of even weave that I bought at Hobby Lobby, and then coffee tea dyed, and I love that old primitive yucky cruddy look to it, and I think, oh, I just so happy with how that whale turned out. And I love the water, you know, very unexpected. It certainly doesn't look like water, but yet it does, you know. I don't know. I think these are really clever little designs. And then I got to start on the Merwitch, and she looks like this. Now the Merwitch, I'm stitching this on a piece of 32 count, or I'm sorry, 16 count Ada that I purchased from Kitten Stitcher, Teresa. If you guys haven't checked out her shop, now I'm trying to think of what it's called. I can't remember if it's called Kitten Stitcher or if it's called Shakespeare's Peddler, but check out her shop. Go to her video, Kitten Stitcher, and look at her fabrics. She has unbelievable fabric. I did buy a bunch of linen from her. I should have brought that. I didn't bring that to show you. The linen is gorgeous, but I thought it would be fun to try out some of her Ada, and this is, I think, the coolest piece of Ada, and it is soft and lush and just beautiful. I bought a big piece. This is just a little portion of it. But I think I'll stitch probably the rest of the Stranded Jacks on this piece of Ada. And there's my little start on the witch and the fish, and yeah, these are fun. These are hard for me to put down. I'm having a great time stitching these, and just really, really enjoying that. I also worked a little bit on the Raven by Lottie Da. Looks like this. Not much. Didn't get a lot of progress in, but got a little bit of the Raven stitched up. The words. And just a little bit of the bird himself. This is an easy chart. I hopefully will have this done by Halloween and up on the wall, finished in some fabulous fun finishing. We shall see about that. And then I have 2 more whips to show you, but those have a story behind them. So I had the amazing and wonderful and great opportunity to go spend a weekend with 3 lovely ladies that I had actually never met in person. So if you've watched Nicole Buckeye Stitcher's video, you already know about this. But when I was in June, when I found out kind of the week before StitchCon that I wasn't going to be able to attend StitchCon, Nicole kind of jokingly talked about doing a Stitch Away weekend where we could meet up kind of maybe at an in-between place and just have a little weekend. And as we talked about it more and more, we decided that was something we both really wanted to do. And we had never met in person, and we wanted to do that, and there were a couple other there were a lot of other Flosstube people that we would love to meet in person or spend some time with, but just in the effort of kind of keeping it manageable and not making it a huge retreat, we went ahead and put together this weekend. And Nicole did most of the planning and did a phenomenal job. And really, I just had to show up and bring stitching, and we had a great weekend. So we met up with Marlene, Stitching by the Lake, and Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche, Nicole and I, and we met up in Little Rock, Arkansas, and spent the weekend there. And it was so nice. Marlene brought a bunch of food, and wonderful homemade soup, and all kinds of goodies, and we did a little grocery shopping together and introduced each other to different foods that we really like, that we thought, you know, other people might like. And it was a very, very rainy weekend in Little Rock, and we really didn't care about the rain. We ventured out only to go to the grocery store and the local needlework store and to dinner one night. So we had a great weekend. Nicole found the little cottages. They were adorable. I will try to remember to insert a picture of the cottages here, as well as some pictures that we snapped throughout the weekend of the four of us. But one of the things that we did on Saturday, one of the very few times that we ventured out, was to the Shepherd's Needle, which is right in Little Rock. And we had a marvelous time. If you ever get the opportunity to go to the Shepherd's Needle in Little Rock, please do so. Anna is the owner, and she was just the sweetest, most gracious, lovely person. Greeted us at the door, had spiffed up the shop for us, which it was out of this world. And then we also got to meet Sherry and Mary, and they were just lovely. They both worked there kind of part-time. But this store had so many interesting, different, unique, and yet fun things, and it was really hard to sort of pare back my buying. And when I show you this, you probably won't think that I did, but I really did exercise some amount of control. So the first thing I came across is something that you've probably all seen, but seeing it in person and stitched up, I knew I had to have it and make it for my friend Gail for Christmas. So it's Little House Needleworks Bethlehem, and I always do a kind of a simpler nativity or some sort of a nativity for her for Christmas. And this I thought was just perfect. And it was Anna had the model in the store, and so it was on the, it was actually hanging, and it was just beautiful. And seeing it in person, I knew this would be, the thing. I decided to go ahead and kit it up there, and Anna recommended some opalescence, and I was pretty resistant to that at first. And now that I've started stitching on this, it is the most perfect fabric. So we went home, and I started there, went back to the little cottages, and I started this immediately. And so here is my start on Bethlehem by Little House Needleworks. Is that not the sweetest? And can you see the sparkle? Isn't that so sweet and cute and amazing? I love it. It's kind of wonderful in its simplicity, I think. And I think Gail, this may end up being my favorite that I've ever done for her. And I think she'll love it, hopefully. So just love that, and we're so pleased with the fabric on that. And yeah, you all know that how lucky I feel to have Julie McConnell in Reflections here in Omaha. And she is, as I've often said, a wizard at choosing fabric or color conversion and coming up with ideas for things. And you've seen her stuff, and it's just phenomenal. But it was neat to go, so I never have very high expectations when I go someplace else, because I think, well, I have Julie, I have her here. And it's neat to know that there are other Julies in other places. And so the next thing that I bought, now I actually found this before I saw the Bethlehem stitched up, and so I bought this knowing this was probably too big to stitch for Gail, but wanting it for myself. So it's a La-Di-Da design, Tidings of Great Joy, and it has the the verse from, I believe, from Matthew, and there were shepherds abiding in the fields, and that whole, pretty much that whole verse. I love the little brick house, and then I love this border, and I just thought this was just the sweetest little design. So I got to start on this actually Sunday morning before we went to the airport, and the only thing I've decided is that I'm not happy with the Weeks Dye Works brick, is what is called for out here in the little, in the border. I feel like that needs to be more red, and it's too mauvey. So I have to go out to Reflections this week, and I'll go out and look for something else to you know, to do these, something more, I don't know, more red, more traditionally red. Other than that, I think that's just a beautiful, beautiful chart. So then a few, those are kind of my whips, and then a few other things that I got while I was there. I told myself and told myself and told myself that I wasn't going to do these, and yet Marlene was working on them, and I could not take it, and I actually bought two, and it looks like I only have one down here. The Plum Street Samplers Noah's Christmas, and you've seen those if you watch Marlene Stitching by the Lake. She's working those up for Cade for a Christmas present for him someday, the whole series. And she happened to be working on one, and now I can't remember which one she was working on. And she's done the alligator. I can't remember which one it was. And we just all were in awe. And of course, her stitching is just out of this world. To be that good someday. But to see it in person, and again, it's so different when you see it in a picture versus in person. And so I got just a couple of these, and I'm not going to do the whole series. I'm only going to get the ones I really, really like. But I got Noah's Ark Christmas. This is the fourth in the series, and it's the pandas and the parrots. Because those pandas are to die for. I think they are so cute. And Maddie absolutely loves pandas. So, not that I'm necessarily going to make this for Maddie, but it may be for me, for my tree, but oh my goodness, those pandas. And you know, those parrots aren't bad either with that polka dotted Christmas tree. So, got that, and oh, I may have the other one over here. I do. And then I got Noah's Ark 1, which is crocodiles and giraffes. When Ryan was a baby, his whole room was done in giraffes. His nursery was done in giraffes. It was actually done in Noah's Ark, but more giraffes than anything else. And those giraffes are just killer. So cute. And, you know, again, those crocodiles, I like those crocodiles, too. So, I don't know when I'll start these. Probably this week, just because they're kind of calling to me. If you watched Buckeye Stitcher, Nicole showed these on her video just this morning. And this was one that I would have never, ever, ever, and she said the same thing, but I definitely would have never pulled off the shelf by looking at the picture on the pattern. And she brought it to me. She brought me the chart, and she said, look at this. This is so cool, and they have it stitched up over there. You should go see it. And I looked at it, and I was like, you know, yeah, I mean, it's cute. Okay, whatever. And then a little bit later, I walked over to where they were all standing and saw this stitched up, and it's so spectacularly beautiful that I ended up getting it. This is a two-part series. I only got part 1, but it's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. This is a Needle Made Designs chart, and you get the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. I think in this one it's this one and this one, and then there's another chart that has this and this. So this was done up in the shop on a book, and I hope to do it the same way. It turned out, it was just beautiful. Wouldn't that be fun to get done? See, those colors just don't, anyway, it was gorgeous. I've seen this. Jen carries it in her shop, and I have to admit that I was a little bit, you know, I'm here with Jen Reagan, and you know, from Jen Stitching Niche, who has probably the greatest Etsy shop of all time, and I saw this, and again, and this wasn't worked up, I don't think, but it was just one of those charts that was right there, and I've loved it and looked at it for a long time. It's Fiona and Edward, Kathy Barrick, and that red horse is killer. The bird, the robin, I guess that's a robin, I don't know, the butterfly, the little tiny house. Anyway, no plans to start that anytime soon.